In this video I'm at Cardinham Woods and I'm going to be riding the Bodmin Beast Trail. Cardinham Woods is located around Cornwall and it has quite a few rivers running by the trail, which I think is really nice, especially when you're going along. So here is the map of the trail so you can see whereabouts you're going. The trail is 12 kilometers long and is a blue grade. There are also some sections along the trail which are more technical, like the red sections. They're slightly longer than the blue, but not by miles. Now let's start riding, or not so fast. So after about 2 meters of riding, my chain snapped. So now here's a little film of me fixing it, so I had to remove one of the links and put in a quick link. Here's a picture of the quick link. So the one problem with our quick links is it was for a 6 to 8 speed chain, not a 12 speed chain. So after washing my hands in the river nearby, we were ready to start moving, finally. So starting going uphill, hopefully my chain won't snap this time, as the quick link is slightly big for the chain. Every now and again I hear the click of it getting into place, kind of. So after a little bit more uphill, we still have more single track uphill, but single track uphill is a bit more fun, but it's slightly harder on the chain. And the downhills I don't think I'll pedal, because save the chain. So to save my chain I made this no pedal policy, and it's basically no pedaling on the downhills. Oh no, the no pedal policy going out the window slightly. So after having to live with my no pedal policy for quite a while now, we finally had some downhill. The only thing that I found with these ups and downs on the downhill is always at the bottom there was a puddle, so you get pretty wet. I recommend taking a waterproof so then you stay a bit drier. I currently wasn't wearing one and I think this was slightly a bad idea. So this downhill was one of the many fun downhills. It had lots of ups and downs. Although, as I already said, there's puddles at the bottom, they're still really, really fun. I have to say this is one of my favourite trail features and trail sections, as you can pick up loads of speed while going up and down. Although jumping is an option, it might not be the best to jump. Sorry that this is slightly blurry, but here you can see the trail section that I just came down. You might be able to tell how fun it looks, as it's really up and downy. So now we have some uphill just here. Oh no! Gone! And my chain's completely snapped again. Chain gone. So when I was fixing my chain, I was looking out for these little cracks and I saw them. I don't know what caused them, but hopefully it's nothing too expensive, but I've got a new chain on order now and hopefully we'll have no more problems. So now I fixed the chain again, but we have no more quick links. And as I didn't really want to take any more risks, I decided to go on my mum's bike, which is a Marin B-17 TWO, and that was my old bike. It's one of my favourite bikes actually. Once again, you might have noticed, switched bikes, because I'll probably break the other one again. So I'll give this one a whirl. Luckily, there's no cracks in the link. I think my bike might need a new chain, definitely. So now that we had some uphill on single track, we have this fun downhill single track. Can't remember what it's called. It's quite fun and fast, and there's a few jumps on the side, which are really fun to go over. What I quite enjoyed about this bike is I didn't have a no pedal policy, so I had fun on the downhills. I'm going to clean. bike is so weird jumping. Do not know. And how slippy it is. So what you might be able to see about this section of trail is the berms are quite small and very tight. So if you're not the best at manoeuvring the bike, I recommend maybe trying to go slow around them or either walk them.
Camera white. Keep going. That top line looks a bit dodgy.
So what I remembered while going down this trail is every now and again to give this camera a wipe. So unfortunately I don't do it till the end of the section now. It's quite short till the end, but I try and do it as much as possible all along the trail.
Quite annoying to get up to speed. These are pretty tight. I have to say, down here.
So when I went down here, this is one of the red sections. I was following someone and they knew the trail quite well and they were on an e-bike, so they were quite quick down here. But it was really fun, so this red section I would recommend doing. As long as you have a working chain, it's fun. If you don't have one, it's not so fun as it's slightly uphill every now and again. So you want to keep pedaling as much as you can to keep your speed. The trail does start off pretty tame, but then you get some more rocky berms, which I find are really fun and enjoyable to ride. So now the berms are starting to get even bigger and slightly more slippy. As it was a wet day, there are lots of puddles around, so I recommend being careful for those. There are a few jumps around which you can either jump or roll, but all along this section is rollable and all along the trail is rollable. So after a smaller minier uphill, there are these few jumps. If you have the speed, you can either take them, but they're quite hard to get the speed for, so I didn't manage to jump them, but you can roll them. And now you're just about to join back on with the blue. It's right round this bend, and it's quite a good section to take if you want to go slightly further than the blue, as the blue goes straight down to the fire road and across, slightly downhill across, but otherwise it's not the most technical, the blue. But the red would be a good challenge if you're up for it and would like to try something a bit different if you've ridden the blue and just the blue a few times. And here you can see that's the fire road that you're going to join on to. So this section is one of the highlights of the trail. It starts off slow, but then picks up speed massively. There's loads of jumps along the side, so if you're feeling a bit more confident or want to get some air along the trail, you can give them a whirl. So you can see how fast I'm now starting to pick up.
This bike jumps quite differently.
You can either choose to jump the rollers or just roll them. So now you get into a big open area, and it's quite nice area as you get great views over the valley.
This
and
section looks really cool.
Fun to ride. It's up and downy, but you do get absolutely soaked on this section. You might be able to hear and see all the puddles. So on this section it's quite up and downy. I wouldn't recommend jumping the rollers, as
I wouldn't try to jump this.
Straight into another, as I just said on the trail. Here I wanted to wipe the lens, and I was just thinking about it all the way, and I really wanted to do it about now. And then I looked down and went into the hedge, but then I thought, oh, let's keep going. It doesn't look that bad.
Well, you shouldn't check if your camera's recording.
In a second, I do it. Don't worry too much. And you can see the amazing views.
Oh, watch. There we go.
Here, I was just covering up my watch with my mountain bike jersey, as I didn't want it getting muddy because it was all of wet puddles. So if I ever came back, this would probably be one of my number one sections which I want to do.
Not that bad.
And I just wiped the lens, which I was probably really happy with. Now we're coming up to a section which is jumpy, so to the right there's loads of small-ish jumps. And they're quite good to practice on. You want to then do some bigger jumps all along the trail for next time. And if you pick up enough speed, you can get even more air on the jumps. I recommend when you're going around these bends or before the bends, you slow down quite a bit, as they're quite tight and you don't really want to go over the side, as it's quite full. What I have noticed on some of the bends is they put some wooden fences up, as that's the ones usually with the bigger fall. I think this is really useful for some of the less capable riders or the ones which aren't so good at balancing, because then they feel a bit like safer and they're not going to go off the edge. So this section was quite a fast downhill section, but it's only on a fire road. And my mum was shouting at me to put my waterproof on as it was absolutely tipping it down. I did eventually, but once we got to the single track. So after quite a bit more uphill, we still have more uphill, but now we're nearly back at the start. And we have a final burst of downhill, which I find is quite fun, although it is slightly bumpy. You'll see that just soon. So the downhill starts slightly slowly, with a few mini uphills entwined, but then you have a really fun downhill section, like the one we just had, which was quite long.
This section's quite cool.
So what I would say could be better about this section is the uphills in the middle. Although it does make it last slightly longer, it's slightly annoying when you have to have an uphill, because you lose all your speed. So here we have a small fire road downhill section. So this section is really nice to get you back up to speed, and you really enjoy this section because it's really fun, I find. But then you have slightly more uphill and you're back at the trail centre almost. But at the end you have a really fun, fast downhill section. Although it's not very long, it's really fun. So this section is to basically get your enjoyment rating up. So then you enjoy the final section of the trail and you feel like you've had a really fun mountain biking day. So here it is, it starts off slow but then it picks up speed really quickly and you have lots of ups and downs. I really enjoyed this section and I definitely want to do this section again, as well as the many other downhill sections. This is why this is one of the best trails in Bodmin, I'd say, although I still have to do a review on the Lanhydrock Mountain Bike Centre. Lanhydrock and Cardinham Woods are right next to each other, so you could go on one day and do both, or split them up into 2 days and maybe go camping or stay at a hotel. So now you've just arrived pretty much back at the very start. You've got to go along this road for about half a mile, but then you're back at the car park and you can go to the cafe as they have lots of food. So overall, the Bodmin Beast Trail is amazing fun. You can also do some of the red sections if you feel like it, or want a small challenge.
I won't try to jump this.
These rollers are really fun, and all of the downhill sections they make sure that you really enjoy. Not like some trail centres where they might just have an uphill and then a small downhill. I don't really like that, as you're not really getting a long fun downhill.
That's why you shouldn't check if your camera's recording.
I would have to say you'd have to be a decent mountain bike rider to ride this trail because compared to Holden Forest in Devon, the trail is slightly different and a bit more technical. I really enjoy this trail and I'd love to do it again. I hope you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.
I was checking it down now. Not that bad. Thought it was, it sounded like it was. Let's jump here. Now I've got squeaky brakes. These brakes on this bike they just usually don't be squeaky. So it's odd when it does.